So my furnace is up in the attic through that access hole, but last night the fan wouldn't shut off even though the heat wasn't on. Let's check this out.
A few minutes later.
Yeah, after 3 minutes the fan is still running. So this is a problem with the this particular furnace control board. The shut-off timer fails. I've fixed it on the other side of the house. It's time to fix it on this side. So let's get to it. So I have two air handler breakers. I don't know which one it is. East side or west side of the house. We'll shut them both off. Oh, there's a light here somewhere. Okay. And there's our air handler. In order to get that board, this panel has to come off. We need to push up right here at the middle, and then this guy comes out. Yeah, the board is actually behind this panel. You see there's a little switch that it has to keep closed in order to operate. And that's our furnace control board right there. You can see it. It's this thing right here. That's what we need to replace. They're not serviceable. And yeah, there's a lot of wires on there, but if you just take a photo of it before, putting the new one in is quite easy. So let's get that done. Okay, so it's a White Rogers model, looks like 50A50-473. There's the old furnace control board, and there's the new furnace control board. And if you're thinking they don't look anything alike, you're right. It turns out that this is an obsolete board. They don't make this one anymore. And what they have is more of a generic replacement that probably covers a lot more furnace modules. So the challenge is figuring out what wires that went here now go here. And it's actually a lot easier than it looks. If you look closely, you can see labels on the old board: hot, 120 volt AC, and neutral. The other connections are pretty much self-explanatory because they're just Molex connectors and they match. So all you have to really worry about are the hot and the neutrals and getting them right. So you have cool, heat, park, line, transformer, and TP isn't used. Those are the hot. And then the neutral, which are all common to each other, is CIR, line, X-former, and humidifier if you have one. We don't. So if you go to the replacement board, you will find these are your hot. You have a cool, heat, park, L-line, hot, and transformer. So these are all the hot connections that match these. For neutrals, and again, they're all common, so you can't really mess it up even if you don't get them quite right. You have the same CIR, X-former, EAC, humidifier, which we don't have, and line neutral. So for example, line neutral would be the white to the line black, which would be the hot. So really, and the connectors simply that you pulled off of here simply clip onto here. So once you know that, it's a lot easier. And the fact that I took photos before I pulled the wires off, that's what's gonna really help me out a lot. Finally, you have the transformer terminals here: yellow, white, red, green, and common. They're all in the actually exact same order as they were over here. So that's That's very easy to do too. The other difficult thing is going to be mounting this board, since it's a completely different size from the old board. So you know these 10 millimeter screws, 1/4 inch screws, are not going to match up with whatever holes we have on this board. So a completely different size. I have one hole exposed here. The rest are holes occupied by standoffs. So one or more of those standoffs are going to come out, and I'm going to use it for a second screw. And 2 screws will hold this board just fine. So let's see how that works. So finally, there's this 3-position switch here, dip switch, on the old board. And all 3 are up, which gives me a shutoff time of 100 for switch 2 and switch 3. If you move over here, you see switch 1 actually determines if there's a cooling off delay. So with switch on, it's 0 cooling off delay, and that's what you want. When the air conditioner shuts off, you don't need to run the fan any longer. Running the fan after heating, the plenum has to cool off and you need it to cool down. So that's why on for turning off the cooling delay works, and on for a heating delay of 100 seconds is fine. So that means all 3 switches are on. The replacement board has the same switch, 3-position switch. Right there. And it turns out they've mimicked the same function. I'm going to disconnect these wires. I've taken photos of them. I've got 4 1/4 inch nuts that hold this whole thing on. Power's off to the air handlers. Let's get started. So we have black is cool, yellow is heat, red is park, blue is park, line is black, goes through the switch. Here's the other side of the black. And then we've got a connector. We've got 2 neutrals over here. I'll make that 3 neutrals to the left of the Molex connector. Then we grab the Molex connector, pull that out. He's free. Got another Molex connector here. He comes out. All right, so now all those are free. I just have to take the thermostat wires off. This is a 1/4 inch nut, am I right? Yeah, okay. Now it falls free. Okay. Get him out. The wires. There we go. There it is. I want to mount this as close to the orientation as the old board, and I think this is the best way, because then I've got my thermostat control wires on the left. I've got this Molex connector on the bottom, and the only thing that needs to stretch is this 4-connector Molex connector. So if that's my orientation, I can use the hole in the upper left for the hole in the upper left of the board. I could drill a second hole, maybe for this middle standoff. That could come out, and I could drill a hole there, couldn't I? I think that might make sense. Let's do that. You can see my mark is right there. Okay, I think that's pretty solid. Now we start connecting wires. Now here's where it gets interesting because they may not all reach. So we refer to this guy. And the next one, line and transformer. So that is black with a blue connector. But those are all the hots. And all that's left are the neutrals. Go down here. Now they're not going to reach, so I have to clip that zip tie. Okay, zip tie's off. Now here's the problem. These two whites, even though I unclipped the zip tie, they don't reach the neutrals down there. So I've got to create, well, I've got to basically extend these whites. The first one to extend is this guy. I've got my trusty Milwaukee strippers here, which, great tool by the way. So clip. Okay, got my two extended neutrals. Finally, oh, this is fun. That guy's not going to reach there, is he? That's not fun. Okay, how can we fix that? There we go. Yeah, he reaches. I'll re-zip that other stuff. Interesting. And finally, this Molex, which goes this way. You can't put them in wrong, is the idea behind a Molex connector. So this guy's in. All right. Okay. Okay, all put together. We're ready to test. So the gas is off. The main fan is off. The blower is still going to cool down the plenum. And in 100 seconds, this fan should shut off. And if it does, we're done. We fixed the problem.
A few moments later.
There you go. The fan shut off, as it should. And now nothing is running. So, problem fixed. Thanks for watching.